sacred boundaries coming from the ancient master, the ancient principles applicable for modern times that we're going to work on tonight. So once again, welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. It's good to have you all on board here, and may this be a wonderful time tonight of refreshment, and that you can understand how this beautiful concept of setting boundaries work within the framework of the formula. Many of you are familiar with the formula, and every time when I share aspects of the formula, you are saying to me, Jath, this is new aspects, because this formula is so deep, so profound. It really works powerful in all aspects of your life. So far, we've been using the formula in the context of dealing with anxiety, and then also the last two episodes we spoke about forgiveness and self-forgiveness, how the formula is applicable to those kind of challenges. But tonight, we're going to really dive into the aspect of setting boundaries, healthy boundaries. And let's see how far we can take it tonight. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So, starting with the idea of boundaries that matter now more than ever in your life. The first point that I want to highlight out tonight, everybody, to understand that boundaries are not walls. Some people say, it's time for me to put up boundaries, and then they think in terms of walls. No. These things that we are talking about, they are gates. They are gates. They define where you end and another begins. It's what you allow in and what you do not allow inside of your space. Because without healthy boundaries, we give away our power. We betray ourselves, our true, authentic selves are being compromised. And then we get caught in this repeated emotional entanglements that drain, confuse, and disempower us. You will remember I've been speaking so far about the predictable future, the loop that connects the past with the future, the same tomorrow as yesterday. And that's how boundary manifests in toxic relationships as well. Those relationships marked by manipulation, control, disrespect, or just even emotional dependency. These things thrive in the absence of setting boundaries in your life. You want to get healthy? You want to get better? Learn to set boundaries. That's what we are working on tonight. So please, you know how it works every Sunday evening. Please do not hesitate to comment below. And in areas of your life where you are struggling to set boundaries, go for it. Share down below. Your comment section is there for you to share your struggles, your challenges that you're working on currently to set boundaries in terms of what person, what situation are you facing there where you need to really apply healthy boundaries in your life, where you need to open the gate or perhaps even start closing the gate. That's how boundaries working. The gate that needs to be open to allow certain things and people in, habits, but also closing the gate to protect what is precious to you in your life. So that's why boundaries is important. They are not walls, they are gates, and they are to help you, to protect you against toxic relationships. And they also define you, where you end and where another begin. Now, the formula, as I've been speaking to you, and I'm going to elaborate more on the formula tonight, offers a path to reclaiming our inner authority. Because boundaries is all about authority. And when merged with boundary principles, it empowers people to not only set but maintain the healthy boundaries that we are talking about tonight from a place of alignment, clarity, and deep inner truth. And that's what I want to help you tonight. Let's see how we can connect the principles of boundaries with the Ancient Master formula. And that's what I want to help you tonight to say, let's see how we can apply it. Now, here it is. The core principles of the Ancient Master formula consist of 8 principles. These principles, those of you who've been tuned in since the beginning, you will recognize it. But tonight, in the context of setting boundaries, oh my goodness, it's going to bring new light, new understanding to you, a new perspective. The first point of the concept of the formula states that we have to act on your highest excitement. At every given moment and place, what is your highest excitement? Act on that with integrity and no rigid expectations. That's how the formula goes. You act on your highest excitement with integrity, never with greed or with fear or out of the ego, with integrity and with no rigid expectations on the outcome. While you act on your highest excitement with integrity and no rigid expectations on the outcome, we say stay present. Stay present in a positive state as you act on your highest excitement. Then, as you act on your highest excitement and you stay positive in that state, you set clear intentions to break the predictable loop, as we say. And as you are aware of breaking the predictable loop, you become also aware of identifying and dismantling your limiting beliefs. And if this is new to you, I'm running quick through it because we've been spending almost 24 videos on these concepts, and go back to the past where you will see each of these concepts have been dealt in detail so far. And point 5, as I just mentioned, you identify and dismantle limiting belief systems that's keeping you in the predictable loop. And then you become aware of low vibrational emotions that's actually just a record of the past that's keeping you back. Become aware of it, because now under point 7, you need to learn to assign an elevated emotion to your intentions. And then the reward will be synchronicities that will manifest in your life. And how many episodes have we been discussing the blessing, the glory of synchronicities in our life? Synchronicities will only manifest if you apply those other steps in your life. Otherwise, where there's no synchronicities, you are not in alignment with your true, authentic self. Only when you apply these principles, you will find out how synchronicities work for you in life. And go back to the previous episodes where you will learn more about the secrets and the mysteries of synchronicities in our daily life when you act on your highest excitement, and followed by the other principles of the formula. Now, these are the core principles. For those of you who are new tuned in, I see there's a couple of you who've never tuned in tonight, so this is new. Stay tuned, because this can change your life. I'm sharing a principle tonight based on the formula that is very ancient, it's sacred, it's powerful, and it works for those who are willing to set out and to step out to apply these principles. Now, let's move on. Boundary principles. I would like to see tonight how we can combine the formula with boundary principles. Remember, boundaries in your life define you, is who you are. If you don't have a boundary, your skin is a boundary. Imagine if you don't have a skin, you will have to drag your heart and your lungs and all the other organs along the way. No. Your skin is one form of boundary in your life. Boundaries clarify what is me and what is not me, what I am comfortable with and what I am not comfortable or not with, what I am aware of, what is within my rights, and what I'm aware of that is not within my rights. It defines us. The next boundary principle that you need to understand is that you and I are responsible for our own feelings. What you feel is your reaction, your responsibility. Nobody can make you feel. How many times do you have to say that? Nobody can make you feel. If anyone can make you feel, it means that you have surrendered power towards the dictator, the puppeteer, and you just a puppet. If someone can make you feel, we are responsible for our own feelings, our behaviors, and attitudes. We cannot control other people, but we can learn to control our responses. And that's why we say setting limits, boundaries, teaches you and I how to treat others and how to expect others to treat us. Because healthy boundaries protect, love, it protects your time, and it will also protect your energy. When you feel your energy is being drained, you may as well just assume something is wrong in your life and there's a boundary issue that is being violated. You either violating it or others, you're allowing others to violate it. So your energy is being compromised. Go and check it tonight. If you have constant energy problems, there's a boundary violation somewhere, and you need to look for it until you will find it in your life. So that is it. Yes, Willem, I agree with you. Partially, your mind is the only thing you can control. You know why partially? Turn the we into I. My mind is the only thing I can control. In the first tense, first person. It's my mind. It's easy to talk about other people's minds. First tense. I take our full responsibility by using first tense. Do not use second tense, second person. It's so typical in our language to use the second person. You are responsible for your. But tonight I'm teaching you I am responsible for my feelings. We are responsible for our behaviors. I'm taking full responsibility for my emotions. Can you hear the power that you give it to yourself? Right. So, well, thanks for that comment. You just remind me of this point that I really want to make very, very clear tonight. We talk about in the first tense. I am responsible for my own happiness. Nobody can make me happy. You hear what I'm saying? In the first tense. My mind is the only thing that I can control. Right, that's boundary principles. Let's have a look at the integration. What I'm going to do now is to see how the formula that I've been sharing, those 8 principles, how they will empower the boundary work in your life. How will the formula help you to act on your highest excitement in terms of and setting boundaries? Where's the link? How is the connection working? Let's have a look at it. Here it comes. The first point, the first principle of the formula says, follow your highest excitement. This means that we trust what resonates with us. Toxic relationships, for instance, often make us feel heavy, anxious, or draining. It's a boundary violation because the formula says act on your highest excitement. Your emotional guidance system, the navigation system of your higher self, is whispering and sometimes even shouting out, this is not aligned. This relationship that I'm in, This toxic relationship is not aligned with my highest excitement. This job that I'm doing is not aligned with my highest excitement. This friendship that I'm in, this place where I'm at, is not aligned with my highest excitement. It does not resonate with me. It is indeed a boundary violation. That's why you need to ask the question when you practice the skill: does this relationship energize me or deplete me? And if it's depleting you, you need to go and ask why. Why is it depleting me? What's going on here? And then you need to follow the answer. Follow up on the answer. Because healthy boundaries begin when you and I trust our inner resonance, not guilt or obligation. When you're not acting out of your highest excitement in a job, in a relationship, wherever you are, but you act out of guilt or obligation or fear or plight, you are not acting on your highest excitement. You are violating a boundary. It's a boundary violation because it's going to drain you. It's going to drag you down. I need to also make you aware of that excitement doesn't mean running away from problems. Excitement doesn't mean that you are acting impulsively or selfishly. That's not your highest excitement. That's your lower self, your greedy self, your physical mind that's dictating you there. And we are talking about the higher mind. Therefore, excitement means choosing what feels alive, what feels true, and aligned with your values. Now I want you to become aware tonight of your highest excitement at any given moment in time and place. When you act on it, when you follow it, when you pursue it, it resonates with your true, authentic self. Have you ever thought that you may connect your highest excitement with the concept of setting a boundary? That's how simple it is. Your true, authentic self responding, acting on it, which is then the application of the boundary setting in your life. Beautiful, eh? Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff, full stuff. That's how it works. Right. Now that you understand, we need to act on our highest excitement. The second part says, act with integrity. This means honor your truth through setting the boundaries. To act with integrity, in other words, means to stand up for your truth, even if others disapprove in your life. What is your truth? What you believe and perceive as truth according to your set of values, your highest excitement, because boundaries are about ownership in our life that we take. When we act with integrity, you are confirming your ownership, because you and I are responsible for protecting our peace, our time, and our emotional well-being. How many times have we compromised that in terms of our peace, our time, and our emotional well-being? And what happens then? We get anxiety. We become overloaded. We become overwhelmed because we are not acting on our highest excitement, and then we are in big trouble. Now, how do we change it? And this is where you need to become aware of your needs. To speak your needs, to make it aware to others. What's your needs? I need to rest more. I need more time on my own. I need more time at work, out with my friends. More me time. I need to learn to say no with grace. Let your yes mean yes, and your no mean no. Say what you mean and mean what you say. That's how we act with integrity, where your higher self gives you the guidance and you act on that, not to pretend. When we act out of service, to our own detriment, to our own disregard, we are not acting with integrity. Then we're going to get hurt. So this part of the formula that I'm helping you now tonight reminds us that saying no to toxicity is actually indeed saying yes to my self-respect. That's beautiful, eh? Saying no to toxicity and saying yes to my own self-respect. Because integrity is basically the container through which self-love flows in our lives. That's how powerful it works in terms of integrity, when we act on our highest excitement with integrity. Integrity means to be integrated, to be totally integrated. And integration in this context and integrity in this context means that the lower self, the physical mind, lines up with the higher mind, the spiritual mind, the higher self, and the two are in alignment with each other, therefore acting on my highest excitement. The driver, as we said before, submits to the integrity of the navigator. Your GPS system gives you the guidance, and you are, in terms of the driver, the physical self acts on that. When the driver respects the navigator, when the driver, the mind, respects the navigator, the heart, the higher self, you are acting with integrity. Your heart, where your true values reside. This is great stuff, eh? Right. So let's take it further. Right now, I spoke to you about act with integrity while you honor your truth through setting boundaries. And I said, last point I made is that integrity becomes now the container through which self-love in your life starts to flow, and management. This is the powerful stuff. Good stuff, eh? This is how we get healed. You see, I'm giving you tonight the formula. I'm presenting to you the formula as a tool to learn to set healthy boundaries in your life. Now, let's take it further. The formula says that we need to act without any insistence on the outcome. When you act on your highest excitement, you release the attachment to how others respond. You see now the link here? I'm acting on my highest excitement without any expectation on the outcome. I have no control when I say no to you, how you will respond. If you will take offense, I have no control over that. I have no insistence on the outcome. I'm acting on my highest excitement for my best self now, and I have no idea what the outcome will be. I have no control over your behavior. You get it? Because many times we are not setting the boundaries because we are scared about the consequences. We are scared about other people's emotions. We're going to hurt them because we think we are responsible for other people's emotions. Wrong. Wrong. I am not responsible for someone else's emotions. So, let me give you an example. One of the fears in setting boundaries is, what if they get angry, or they reject me, or they leave me? Remember, part of the formula that we said before when we broke it down in previous episodes, nobody can reject you. When we experience rejection issues, is because we are rejecting ourselves. Nobody can reject you. It's impossible that someone can reject you. You can tell me in my face, I'm rejecting you 10 times, but if I don't feel it, I don't perceive it. I won't perceive it as rejection. But if there's a pain point in my life, if I suffer from rejection issues from unresolved childhood issues, of course, I'm going to experience it as rejection. So that's why many people do not set boundaries, because they've got rejection issues. They are afraid that people will respond in certain ways that they may perceive as being rejected. Nobody is rejecting you. You and I are rejecting ourselves. It's a fear-based kind of mindset and living, acting to control the outcome. So let go of controlling the outcome. When you act on your highest excitement, trust the process, trust the flow. What must be shall be as you're acting on your highest excitement. Because the formula says, take the action that aligns with your truth and let go of the result. To emphasize it more, you cannot control others. Only our clarity, our choices, and presence. And this is freedom. This is freedom. And many of you come from families, dysfunctional, toxic families, where you may have felt the need to control other people's anger and emotions. You're responsible for dad's outrage. When dad is angry or mum is emotional, it's my fault. And now it's time to understand that I am not responsible. Set the boundary. I am not responsible for other people's emotions. Right? You can't control others. Only your own clarity, your choices, and your presence. Boundaries are difficult, as you say, Cornelia, to deal with toxic people, but it's your field, your practice field. It's your gym to practice the boundaries. Be grateful for a toxic family. Be grateful for adversary. Be grateful for the devil, because the resistance is keeping you fit, helping you to strengthen your muscle so that you can set the boundary. So that's how it works. It's powerful stuff tonight, eh? When you act without insistence on the outcome. Toxic people, you have no control over their outcome, how they will behave when you set the boundary, when they freak out and behave in their childish way. Let them throw their tantrums, because they don't understand what we are talking about. They don't understand what you are practicing in terms of acting according to the formula in your life. Act without insistence on the outcome. Now, let's take it further. As you act on your highest excitement with no insistence on the outcome, remain in alignment. Remain in alignment. Stay in a positive state. Be consistent. Because many of you, this past week, some of you said, Jav, this formula is not working because I've been applying this, acting on my highest excitement, and there's no breakthrough. There's no breakthrough yet. I am doing what you're teaching me in terms of the formula, but it's not working yet. Hang on. If I just draw a horizontal line like this, a timeline, yesterday, now, tomorrow. You stay in the now, the eternal present now. You stay in the now. What happens? You are waiting for synchronicity to happen. And synchronicity cannot happen when you live in the past or when you live in the future. Synchronicity will only manifest in your life when you stay in the midpoint of being in the present moment, being here. I'll show you now how it works. When we stay in the present moment, in the now, you are in alignment. There's balance in your life. Okay? Let's take it further. Let's see how the formula helps you further to apply boundaries even more powerful. Right. So, boundary work is not a one-time conversation. Just explain now. It's a way of living. So, this alignment of stay in the present is very crucial. To remain in alignment means consistently choosing yourself over and over. I love myself too much to be compromised, especially when guilt, manipulation, or pressure tries to pull you back into old dynamics, the past, or the fear of the future. Stay in the present moment. Anchor yourself in that midpoint. Anchor into daily rituals like journaling, prayer, meditation, mindfulness practicing, breathing techniques, grounding yourself to maintain your energetic and your emotional center in your life. Do it. Practice it. Make sure that you are in alignment with your true self the whole time. Because, let me give you an example. When you feel tempted or pressurized, pressured to give in, you are not in the middle. You are moving in. You are compromising towards the side to accommodate the toxicity, not to hurt other people's feelings. You're out of alignment, and then you'll get hurt. So the formula says, stay in alignment. Okay? Stay in alignment. Anchor yourself into the moment. In the moment. Stay in the present. Now, let's look at how the formula is working. Boundaries are always spiritual. As I said in the beginning, with the topic tonight, it's sacred. Boundaries are not just logic or emotional. They are energetic forces, energetic signatures of your worth when you apply boundaries. You are aligning with the universe because the universe works the whole time with boundaries, like with seasons, day and night. It's all boundaries. We need to go with the flow. When you create space from things that dishonor you, you open to what aligns with your soul. They are spiritual. To set a boundary doesn't require anger. You can be kind, calm, and very loving, and still have unshakable boundaries from a point of peace and love. Because love does not mean tolerance of harm. Love and boundaries is one. Love and boundaries are not separate things. Love is the gate, because love protects. Love opens. Love keeps close to what is precious. Love closes down. Guilt is not a sign that you're wrong when you set boundaries. We help you in this point. Many of you will experience, when you set a boundary, you will feel guilty. Why? Because you get backlash when you say no, when you set the boundary. Even if you do it in a kind way, there's a backlash. So it's normal to feel guilt. Sometimes it's even normal, remember last week's self-forgiveness. We may even need to feel, I need to forgive myself for setting a boundary that I can see someone gets hurt. I need to understand that there's emotions involved. I may feel guilty. It's normal. But it doesn't mean that it's wrong. There are two types of guilt: justified and unjustified guilt. So understand this concept that it is normal when we feel guilty, sometimes when we set boundaries in place. Okay? Guilt is often a signal, however, that you are breaking free from the old programming. So it's a positive sign in this context that I'm teaching you tonight. You are breaking free from a pattern of guilt. You're setting yourself free. So in this case, when you feel guilty when you are setting the boundary, is not that you are doing something bad in your life. Does it make sense? Powerful stuff tonight. But I'm helping you to understand that it's normal when we do feel guilt, when we say no, when we do set the boundaries. To feel that guilt is human. But as I just said, I repeat it, it's a sign that you are progressing, that you are moving on. You are transitioning to something bigger. And now it's part of that withdrawal symptoms, basically, that you experience there. Not to go back to the old, not to compromise. So, apart from the fact that setting boundaries is not a sign that you are wrong, setting boundaries may cause relationships to sometimes fall away. The gate sometimes opens up for new. Sometimes the gate closes. And that's, although it's painful, although we want to avoid it, we need to understand this is how boundary works. And it's okay. It's okay. What? So, here it is. Let what is misaligned be dissolved. So that's what we are doing here. Sometimes the flow takes us in a direction that we didn't expect. So setting boundaries may cause relationships to fall away because you are acting on your highest excitement. When you act on your highest excitement, I've seen it so many times over the years, how certain relationships will just fade away. And when we act on our highest excitement, where new people cross our path, new people become part of our journey when you act on your highest excitement. But when you do not act on your highest excitement, we get stuck in the predictable loop. And then we are stagnant. So it's normal when we act on our highest excitement, when we set the boundaries, that there may come a shift in your relationships, like changing to a new job, for instance. And this is part of growth. It's part of you evolving in your life to manifest the true, authentic self in terms of who you really, really are. When we act on our highest excitement, we are acting according to with integrity, and we are acting according to become the true, authentic person in our life. So now, I want to give you a few prompts tonight to go and reflect on. I want you to think in terms of where you are currently in your life. And here are 3 questions in terms of boundaries and combining it with the formula. Number 1, where in my life am I currently tolerating what drains me? I want you to go and journal it or otherwise reflect on it. What are you tolerating currently that is draining you? What pattern? Time. Spending time with a person is busy draining you. But your guilt, your program from the past, is driving you nuts when you want to just spend time on your own. You know I'm talking to some of you tonight, eh? You know who you are. I'm doing it with love. Where are you now? In what area are you tolerating what is draining you? You just keep on tolerating it. And it's busy hurting you. Big time. Right? That's the first question. Question number 2 that I want you to reflect on in terms of the topic. What is one small, tiny, clear boundary you and I can express this week? Oh, Mari, you were saying it's me. Yeah. Thanks for being honest there, yeah. So just become aware of it. And now the follow-up question. For those of you who say it's me, pick me, pick me, pick me. Oh, Marika, you too? Yes. Here you ask yourself, based on this honesty, I want you to think of one small, tiny, minute, clear boundary you can express this week to preserve your energy from what is draining you. One small, clear boundary. Think of it. Maybe the idea is already popping up in your mind. What is it that I need to do? Maybe just I need to sleep a little bit longer, spend more me time, saying no to that person, to that friend who's been borrowing money from me, who's been taking me for granted. Just to take more care of myself. I'm just thinking of some ideas, but you need to go into detail, something very, very practical. Then, question number 3 to reflect on for this week. What would it look like to protect my peace without apology? How will it look like when you protect your peace without saying sorry? Because when we dare to protect our peace, the first word that utters from our mouths often is sorry. What would it look like to protect my peace without an apology for this week? So there it is. 3 questions I want you to reflect on. Sanet, as you say, saying no with a capital letter. It's a full sentence. Absolutely. Yes. Bareki, yes, I really just need to say no. But to make it easy for you, think in your life areas that you are tolerating. What are you tolerating currently that's busy draining you? Remember, the draining part is the part causing you not to act on your highest excitement. It drains you. What's busy draining you is causing you not to follow the formula. If you're not following the formula and setting boundaries, it's going to hurt us tremendously. Okay? Right, now, in conclusion, you know what? I like what Brené Brown says. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. There's always a high risk that others will be disappointed in us. It's normal. Brace yourself for that. Okay? Because boundaries is a sacred space where you can find yourself again and again in your life. That's what it's all about. That sacred space that you are creating. A holy sanctuary that you are creating where your boundaries operate within. And now with what I've been sharing with you so far tonight, I want you to think of boundaries as a property, as a yard that you're keeping inside, like a garden that you're attending to. You will allow the garden worker in, you will allow healthy seed in, you will allow friends in to come and appreciate your beautiful garden. but you keep the gate out for any weed, any people that will litter there, any people that won't add any value there. The gate will be closed. The gate that you keep closed is your authority. Isn't it beautiful tonight to understand that a boundary is not a wall? A wall is not a boundary. A wall is a defense mechanism. May I just mention a few walls that are not boundaries? Projecting, denial, blaming, minimizing. These are defense mechanisms. And the narcissist will use gaslighting. There are many defense mechanisms that people use, which is confused then with setting boundaries. Defense mechanisms are not from a position of love, but from fear. Remember, the opposite of love is fear. The opposite of love is not hate. Hate is a consequence of fear. Fear is the opposite of love. True love casts out fear, as the Bible says. It casts fear. And this is what boundary is all about. It's an idea, a concept of love. When you learn to understand how important loving yourself is, this is how it easier gets to apply boundaries in our lives. And this is the beauty. Now, what I want to show you now is, let's just go back to the formula, the 8 points, and I'm just jumping now to the 8 points of the formula. Now, I want to show you, if you look at the formula, the 8 core principles of the Ancient Master formula, how it will work and manifest in your life. We've said so far, act on your highest excitement with integrity and no rigid expectations. Be present while you act on your highest excitement, because this is where you will explore what excites you and stay in that positive state as you act on your highest excitement, because you've got reason to be positive and excited when you act on your highest excitement. And now you set your clear intention, in this case, the boundary to break the predictable loop. And this is what's tough in setting boundaries, as Cornelia even mentioned earlier. It's tough, it's difficult if the people are difficult, as she said. Because it's difficult because you are doing something new. Michael, I like the word, but you say takers there, because takers have no regard for our boundaries, because they act out of greed and selfishness, not out of love. It's true. So when you set the clear intention, you are busy breaking the predictable loop of your life. So far, maybe you've been always being the sucker, but now you're breaking it. You have to put out your intention. But as you put out your intention, you become aware of your limiting belief systems that's been keeping you in the loop. And go back to our previous sessions where we spoke about fear-based belief systems. Many episodes that we've been allocating to identifying and how to dismantle the limiting belief systems that is holding us back from saying no and protecting what is precious to us. And you need to know that these limiting belief systems will result in point 6 into low vibrational emotional feelings. And every emotion is basically a record of the past. And your emotions are cues and indicators of certain belief systems that you have. And now we need to become aware of these lower vibrational systems that we have, these lower vibrational emotions based on certain belief systems. And as you put out your intention, according to point 4, to break the predictable loop, Keeping in mind, point one, the highest excitement that you're acting now upon, you already in advance assign an elevated emotion to your intentions. How will you feel when you say no? Remember those three reflection questions I've asked you? Is the last one is how will you feel when you do it? How will it feel you when you apply this freedom in your life? It's an elevated emotion that you activate in advance, even though you are not activating it yet. You're not there yet, but you think about tomorrow, I need to have that conversation with that person, and in advance you feel the feeling of excitement, of liberation and freedom in advance, instead of nipping, instead of being anxious. Feel the feeling of excitement, and the highest elevated emotion that you can assign to your intention. You know what it is? Yes, you've heard it. You're right. Gratitude. Gratitude. Yes. Some of you tonight, you are saying, Michael, Mari, we are so fed up with takers. It's time to set the boundary. How will you feel when you set the boundary? How will you feel when you let go of the takers? That's the wonderful part of point 7, the elevated emotion of gratitude, of freedom, of excitement. And only then, point 8, is the sealer. Synchronicities start to happen in your life. Synchronicities will manifest in your life. Now, tonight is the first time that I'm showing you all 8 of the core principles of the Ancient Master Formula. So you may have a look at it. You can even take a screenshot if you have a second device there to remind you of this is the formula. But what I want to do now for the next 5 minutes before we close down for tonight is just to show you how synchronicities will work when you set up boundaries, when you apply boundaries. Although it's going to be difficult, as Cornelia earlier mentioned, it's not easy always. But follow the formula. It makes it easier. But as you follow the formula, synchronicities will start to happen. Now, synchronicities in setting boundaries may manifest in the following ways. Just before you apply the boundary, or after you apply the boundary, someone is confirming with you while you are doing the right thing. There may be a confirmation. There may be a sign coming to you, whether it's through a WhatsApp note, numbers, symbols, whatever it is. Any kind of synchronicity will manifest as a result to prove to you and to reward you that you are indeed on the right path. Synchronicities is the reward of following on the concepts of the formula. Now, synchronicities happen every day, left, right, and center in our day. The formula, as we practice mindfulness, helps and enable you to notice these synchronicities in your daily path. Now, synchronicities may not always come as positive nudges. It may also come as painful pricks. Like anytime when you say yes to that person who's borrowing money from you, you get hurt. You get hurt. Synchronicities now is showing you the opposite. Now you're getting punished. So now synchronicities is warning you, keep on doing that same thing and you'll get a prick. You'll get hurt. Synchronicities will not only allow things to bring things together, but it will also confirm when pathways separate or part. Synchronicities will then also manifest in that regard. I think in the years to come, more and more therapists, coaches, psychologists, doctors will start talking about synchronicities and recognize the power of synchronicity in therapy and in coaching, but here in this case tonight, the power of synchronicities in our setting up of our boundaries. You are never alone when you apply the formula. And synchronicities will be the sign that there's a higher force, whatever you want to call, whoever you want to call that force, God, whatever, whoever. You are never alone. Synchronicities is your sign, is your reward for following the ancient principle. Because what I'm teaching you tonight, I didn't suck from my own thumb here. It's just digging back to what ancient people have been saying. It's now time for us to understand that this formula is applicable for today. And tonight, you can apply it in your own life to set healthy boundaries. Wouldn't it be wonderful this week for you to start journaling the manifestation of synchronicities in your life after applying a boundary? What is even so exciting, I want to show you here as we look at the formula. I have seen people experiencing synchronicities while they even going there to point number 6. While they're even still at point number 1, there's already synchronicities happening when they act on their highest excitement. They haven't even been through the other stages or applied the other principles consciously. But synchronicities already start to happen because these principles that I've been sharing here tonight, they don't necessarily happen in this following sequence, but with one exception. Number 1 is always number 1. You have to always understand acting on your highest excitement is the core, the start and the beginning. It envelopes the whole formula in our lives. Right. I'm sure that you have heard or read on books about setting boundaries, but you've never heard before of how we can set boundaries within the context or framework of such a beautiful formula. And this is what I intended to do tonight. So I'm going to check on this week for those of you who are in contact with me, who are struggling with certain areas of this formula. Stay in contact with me, give me feedback. It will be wonderful to hear what your experiences are and your testimonies and feedback, reporting back on how synchronicities start to happen in your life as you apply this formula in terms of setting boundaries. May this be a wonderful week for you. I'm looking forward to see you next Sunday evening, same place, same face, where we can just be ourselves and experience another time of relaxing in the moment, reflecting and resetting ourselves. So next week, 6 o'clock, see you all. Thank you everybody here tonight for your wonderful input, your information, your comments that you've shared with us tonight. And I'm seeing you next week. Have a blessed week. Take care. Love you all.